Hey YouTube, it's just Brandy, and let's talk The Walking Dead. So, the latest episode of The Walking Dead, I think it's called Dead or Alive or, which is something Negan said in reference to Eugene's bright idea to use walkers as weapons since they're low on ammunition and to hurl walker body parts, but we'll get to that in a second. So this episode kind of takes us to the focus of the hilltop. We see that the people from the kingdom have made it there. So Morgan is there, Carol is there. Maggie, they really don't know what happened in Alexandria because the Alexandrians are still trying to make it to the hilltop. So they don't know what's going on with the war. They know that no one has kind of showed up there besides, since they've taken those prisoners, but they don't know what happened at Alexandria. They know that what happened at the kingdom and that it didn't kind of go so well, but I think that they're hoping that whatever the plan was, I'm not sure exactly what the full plan was, because we didn't really get that part for Alexandria and what they wanted the outcome to be. I don't know what that was. I'm sure that it wasn't what was expected, but I don't know if it's like so much worse. So it's a lot of showing Maggie kind of coming into her leadership. She's kind of unsure at herself at some parts, but towards the end, when she had her interaction with Jeffrey, I think his name is, who used to be the leader of the hilltop, we see her tell him, basically that she has hope, that they don't need to give in. He's telling her, we need to give up. We need to run. And she's like, why would we run? How could we lose? Because she saw that the doctor came, and so she had hope that now we have somebody that can provide medical attention, and we can work together. We have things, we can make this a society, we can live. They're running low on food, they don't know what to do. Jesus is out, Jesus is still upset. We don't know what's going on with Jesus. I don't know when they're going to show us that. We see in this episode that Tara is struggling. She's still upset that Dwight killed her girlfriend and she wants to kill him, but Daryl was like, but we still need him. Now is not the time. And there was that whole thing. We also saw the whole part where Father Gabriel, and where it showed that, he was being faithful and that God was watching over him, because even though he was out there blind, he was still able to survive. Like, it was like everything that was happening, every time you turn around, something was happening in their favor. They ran out of gas. They turn around, he hears the noise, they found a house. They didn't have, they needed a car. He knocked over the jar, the keys fell out. And he saw the radio or whatever, and he was like, oh, we need to use this radio, we need to have hope, we need to say this message, whatever. And just when they thought that everything was in their favor and everything was just going to keep going their way, of course, some of the saviors show up and they end up killing the doctor, and they take Father Gabriel back, and he's like, what was all this for? I just thought that I found my purpose, and now I'm back here. So obviously your purpose is there. So he hasn't figured it out. Eugene is kind of in a messed up situation. We saw where Negan was talking about how he was gonna, he was like, well, what happened to Alexandria? What happened to Alexandria? And Negan was like, do you care? Like, do you care about these people? And so, Eugene has to walk that fine line of survivalship that he does so well, that it's like, do I want to tell him, yes, even though I'm here with you and I side with you, I did still have a relationship with those people, and I want to know, I don't want them to be hurt, because Negan is all about saving. Like, he keeps telling Rick, why didn't you just let me save you? Why didn't you just let me save you? Because in his mind, he is a savior. He saves people, regardless if they feel that way or not. That's what he has convinced himself in his mind, that he is the savior and he saves people. So, that's very interesting to me, that in his mind, he doesn't see himself as doing any wrong. He sees himself as a savior. We saw that towards the end of the episode when Daryl and the people from Alexandria finally made it to the hilltop, that he had to tell Maggie and Carol and Enid the news that Carl was dead, you know, and everything that happened. And, you know, everybody was upset, but they did it kind of silent. We just saw Enid really break down. Obviously, she made it back from those women. Eric is still there, so I guess at some point we'll catch up with what's going on with that, if he has convinced them to come back and help them fight. And it was a thing with Morgan and Carol and the little boy whose brother had gotten shot, and he killed one of the saviors, and he was wanting to know, I want to know who killed my brother. And Carol was like, you know, we can't tell him because he'll go kill them. Like, we don't, you know, we need to allow this little boy to still be a little boy. And you know, this is from Carol, but remember, she was struggling with killing people. She was at the point where she didn't want to kill anyone anymore. So she's in this war and she's doing this, but she still has that internal struggle about not wanting to kill people, which is kind of where Morgan was, and he's not. And I think she keeps on kind of planting these seeds to try to get him back to that place where he was, you know, and out of this just all out war and rage and hatred and just I don't care kind of mode. So I feel like this episode was more of, you know, the hilltop. It was seeing where the hilltop is, seeing where Maggie is, and next week we're going to get into Rick and Negan, and they're going to have a little mesh up, but it's not going to be the end. I think they're going to drag this out for the rest of the season. I'm not sure how many more episodes that we have, probably at least 4, and I think that it's going to stretch out all the way until the very end. So, you know, that was my recap of this episode. I absolutely love The Walking Dead. They are really taking their time with this story. Like I said, I didn't know if it was going to be like a Terminus situation where it was like boom, bam, done and moving on to the next thing. But they're really kind of drawing this out, and I'm not really sure what's going to happen. I did read online to what they said happened with Negan in the comics, and I'm interested to see if the show is going to stay true to the comics or if they're going to veer and do something completely different. So it will be interesting to see. But these are my thoughts and my recap of this episode. I can't wait to see if Negan is actually going to use this catapult thing before I go. So Eugene's bright idea was, because we don't have any ammunition, that we can take walkers and cut them up and throw their heads and throw their arms and throw their bodies. And Negan made a comment that, oh, we just need to touch them with their blood and guts and they'll be infected and we can just let them turn into walkers. Now, I'm not quite sure, because I always thought that on The Walking Dead, you had to be bitten or scratched. They would always say, do you have a bite? Do you have any scratches? Don't let them scratch you, meaning that they broke skin and kind of, you know, got into your bloodstream. I thought I had to get in your bloodstream, because obviously we see people all the time, they're killing walkers and the blood is splattering all over them. We've seen them do like the walker blood and guts all over them so that they can walk. They put the blood on their faces. They, you know, and could it possibly get in their mouths or something like that? Sure. We saw the Terminus people when they were eating Bob's leg. I mean, I think they got killed, so I don't know if they would have turned into walkers, but I'm not quite sure if you just, you know, the way that Negan is saying, you know, if we just touch them, if I hit them with Lucille, that they're going to turn into a walker. So I'm not sure. I mean, like I said, I thought you had to get bit. I thought you had to get scratched. So I'm interested to see how that will work, you know, to see what they're going to do. So I'm assuming that they're going to do this at the hilltop. They're going to start hurling walker body parts, which, what is a leg or an arm going to do? I thought they had to be bit. So we'll see how that plays out, or what they're going to do, or if they even get that far, because I don't know if Rick is going to sit and wait, because he did arrive at the end. And it's, you know, it's always like when Rick comes, you know, Rick has a plan. Rick is always thinking, because Rick wants Negan at any cost. So can't wait to see what's going to happen next week. Leave your thoughts and in the comments section below on what you thought of the episode, and I will talk to you next week.